Last time we talked about this, it was 3 days ago in the video going over the Oilers, Corey Perry, and Stuart Skinner. Well, I'm putting all my chips on all in this time around because when it comes to Corey Perry as a free agent in the NHL, we have ourselves a bunch of insiders that are saying that today the announcement will be made that Edmonton has made the deal. That was a long sentence, kind of complicated. It's whatever. Take a look at this. First to report is David Pagnotta. He went out there and said that there's traction being made between the Oilers and free agent veteran Corey Perry. Decision could come soon. Well, just a few minutes later after that, he said, I'm hearing a deal has indeed been agreed to, and I believe an announcement will be made later today. On top of this, we had other NHL insiders like Frank Saravalli saying this: a decision is coming soon for Corey Perry, but nothing is done yet between Perry and the Oilers. It's certainly trending, though. It's been an exhaustive process, both in due diligence and fit, involving suitors like the Panthers, the Rangers, the Lightning, and others. Expect a deal near league minimum, so we're talking $700,000, $800,000 around that range. I don't think he's going to get the same dollar amount like what he got in Chicago. Remember, he actually was owing Chicago money after he got terminated from that team. If it is Edmonton, and it looks like it is, Saravalli said, you could see him in their lineup as soon as this week. Corey Perry has been skating and training and can play his way back into game shape. The Oilers also have a bye-week break, and after the All-Star break, they don't play again until after February 6th. So there is a while that the Oilers will have to wait before getting fully back into game action, which would give Corey Perry, of all people, some opportunities to really work his way back and get back into shape. Now, as we had said, there are some other insiders that went out there and said this. Reinbacher reported that Perry and the Oilers have agreed to a deal. The announcement is likely coming Monday, so tomorrow, if not sooner. Then you had yourselves Chris Johnston saying this: Corey Perry is joining the Oilers for the remainder of the season per sources. Expect his contract to include a manageable prorated salary and performative bonuses. First to report the signing was the fourth period. So, based off of what these insiders are saying, it's apparent that Corey Perry is signed with the Oilers, but that we're not going to see an announcement about it probably until tomorrow. So that's based off of what everything is saying here. I mean, there was a few conversations happening on the radio where we heard that Corey Perry could probably sign by the time this week came to an end. And I say this week as in the week starting January 21st. I mean, there was a hit where I think it was Darren Dreger said that Corey Perry could sign within the next 10 days, something like that. So all this information here from Rashog, from Saravalli, from Chris Johnson, and then from, of course, David Pagnotta, who started it all off earlier this morning. It makes sense. It fits with the timeline. Everything was kind of culminating into this moment where Corey Perry is going to be an Edmonton Oiler. Now, as we had talked about in last night's video, we did talk about this literally just yesterday, but the Oilers have been on a heater. They have set the record for the longest win streak by a Canadian team in NHL history, 13 straight wins. And adding a guy like Corey Perry onto this squad is just going to make them the ultimate tough team to play against. Not that McDavid and Draisaitl are the roughest and toughest crew around, but having Corey Perry with Evander Kane, two guys that you could say are under the same label of quote-unquote needing a second chance in the NHL, the Oilers are not afraid to bring these personalities onto their team. It seems like they do their due diligence, and it seems like they're comfortable with that kind of player. Especially since Corey Perry, of course, he's been in the NHL forever. He made his debut in 05-06. He is 38 years old. Signing him for a league minimum deal would seem like a bargain on paper. Honestly, we'd said this the entire time we'd been making these videos about Corey Perry, but 9 points, 16 games played, 25 points in 81 games last year, and then 40 points in 82 games the year before that. Corey Perry has still been an effective and all-right NHL player in the limited minutes he's been given on these Stanley Cup finalists teams. He made the finals 3 times in a row, losing in the finals every single time. The first 2 times he lost to the Lightning. The third time he went to the Lightning and lost to Colorado, so he's been kind of unlucky the past few years in regards to these finalists appearances. But for Edmonton, I mean, they've been kind of kicking their way up in the standings. They're now one of the top teams in the NHL. We'd already talked about this, but the Oilers have been so darn good that, look, if they make themselves the second place spot or the third place spot in the Pacific Division, I'm just going to assume that they're not going to make the first place spot. Vancouver seems pretty out of reach at this point, but of course, knock on wood, anything can happen. But Edmonton versus Vegas. I mean, the Oilers are 10-0-0 in their last 10. The Golden Knights are 6-4-0. If you've got Corey Perry going up against a Vegas squad that really is poised to maybe trying to win it a second time in a row, I honestly think that the Oilers will have this one beat, especially if Stuart Skinner is able to continue playing as well as he has been. Not saying that the Golden Knights have been that bad, but they have been sort of coming down to earth a little bit ever since the turn of the new year. So, I don't know, man. LA, Vegas, these teams have kind of been slowing down, so Edmonton has an opportunity to really make some damage here, and Corey Perry could help him out. It's interesting because when you think about the Oilers and their lineups, I mean, let's go over to Daily Faceoff and see where that is. The fact is, Evander Kane is on the second line right now. He wasn't always on the second line. There was a period of this season where he was on the third line and in the bottom six, and that was seen as pretty controversial. A lot of people were kind of complaining, saying, yeah, no, they're not using Kane to his ability. And there were talks that I saw by Oilers fans debating whether or not Kane should be traded or something. So now with Corey Perry entering the mix, if you have an extra name in your bottom six, let's say you take Connor Brown out, for example, you shove Corey Perry up in there, having a line with Sam Gagner and Corey Perry would just be so fun because of how old they are. If you wanted to toss Corey Perry into the top six, I honestly think he'd be okay there too. Maybe not the fastest guy in the world, but he could play a pretty nice net front presence with a guy like Leon Draisaitl. We already talked about this, but he's done pretty well this season playing with a guy like Connor Bedard. So for Corey Perry, I mean, this could be a pretty nice option, even on the power play. Not saying that he's like gonna fully replace somebody's spots here, but the Zach Hyman mold of a guy who can just drive to the net, do some nice power forward things, and just be a pest, that's worked really well in the Edmonton Oilers system for him. So if Corey Perry can just be Zach Hyman light with shades of Evander Kane's sort of ferocity, tenacity, tough to play against capabilities, then this could be a very good signing. I can understand why the Oilers are going down this path. Of course, though, they needed to do their due diligence. They needed to make sure that it would have been okay to sign this guy in the first place, just like these other teams, the Panthers, the Rangers, and the Lightning have done. But at the end of the day, it seems like the Oilers are the final destination. They've agreed to a deal based off of what Reinbacher says. Announcement's probably coming tomorrow. All these guys are saying that it's done. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about Corey Perry signing with the Oilers. I hope you enjoyed this Recherche Rolls 9. And bye.